At the top of my genre TV news for the week is a report concerning the second season of Star Trek Discovery, the controversial new series available on CBS Premium streaming service. Reports say this past week that two big deals are in the works for the second season of the series. They are both directly linked to the finish of last season's final episode of the series and the appearance of the USS Enterprise NC-1701. As any fan of Trek knows, the Enterprise was commanded by Captain Christopher Pike at that point in the ship's history. Filming has already begun on Season 2 of the series. CBS has announced that Inhumans actor Anson Mount will play Captain Christopher Pike in Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Longtime Star Trek fans will remember that Pike is the previous captain who served aboard the USS Enterprise before Captain James T. Kirk took over. Set just a few years before the beginning of the original series, Discovery will connect with familiar Trek lore. The character was initially intended to be the lead of the 1966 series. Jeffrey Hunter portrayed Pike in The Cage, the first Star Trek pilot. He was replaced by Sean Kenny for the second pilot, The Menagerie. Pike was also portrayed by Bruce Greenwood in 2009 Star Trek and 2013 as Star Trek Into Darkness as part of the film franchise reboot. Hunt is perhaps best known for his role as series lead Cullen Bohannon on Hell on Wheels from 2011 to 2016. He also portrayed the Inhuman monarch Black Bolt for Marvel Television. Inhumans debuted in the fall of 2017 to mixed reviews, and its future still seems to be ambiguous at this point. Also directly related to this news is the report that Spock will appear in the second season of the show too. Yes, it's been confirmed that Spock will appear in the second season of Star Trek Discovery. However, at this point, it's unclear if we'll see The Cage-era Spock aboard the Enterprise, which was teased in the Discovery Season 1 finale, or just a younger version of the iconic character in a flashback. It is not clear if we will see a CGI Leonard Nimoy or some other substitute for the original. We do know for sure we'll at least see a young Spock in a flashback sequence, alongside a younger version of Sonequa Martin Green's Michael Burnham, in the second episode of Season 2, directed by none other than veteran Star Trek actor and director, Jonathan Frakes. Also related is a report about the ideas the show will explore in its second season. The showrunners have said a few times now, that the theme of Season 2 is science versus faith. What is the role of serendipity versus science? Is there a story about faith to be told? Leaps of faith. We are dealing with space. We are dealing with things apparently beyond reasonable explanation, and you have a character like Michael Burnham who believes there is an explanation for everything. And it doesn't just mean religion. It means patterns in our lives. It means connections you can't explain. The show's creators also had this to say about Season 2. Season 1 was an interesting season because it was set against the backdrop of war. One of the things we are looking forward to in Season 2 is a tone that we can now be in a more exploratory phase and a more diplomatic phase, maybe a bit more of a Trekkian chapter. The question that keeps puzzling me is what the end game for Burnham is. That is, after creating such a legendary figure that out Spock and out Kirk, what do you do with them? What grand destiny do the show's creators have in mind for the Uber Commander Burnham and her brilliant mind, and how will they explain her place in canon Trek history? The Orville. After so much Star Trek Discovery news, it seems only fair to share the page with the other Trek series and what we can expect in the show's second season. The Orville Season 2 will have more episodes than the 12 in the first season, but the series will not be ready for a fall 2018 release. However, it may still arrive this year. According to McFarlane, we can expect to see a few new faces in recurring roles. Not much else is known except the show's second season is scheduled to arrive later this year. The Expanse, another edge-of-your-seat episode that ended with Christian and Draper finally meeting up with the crew of the Contorta, with Christian barely alive after a brutal spaceship ride, and they get along famously. Here's a peek at next week's episode. Gotham. The show abruptly dropped the excellent Joker arc it's been dwelling on and shifted the narrative to the return of Ra's al Ghul and an ensuing power struggle with Barbara for control of the League of Assassins. Selina is never far away these days, and they came close to a meaningful kiss. Those kids make an attractive couple. Arrow. Not much enthusiasm for the Arrowverse these days, but last week's show was as violent a crime drama I have seen on TV lately, with a body count that rose so fast it was hard to keep up with after the first 20 or so. Krypton. The jury is still out on this one. Related